Welcome to Your Next English. You're listening to English Listening Practice, Football Legends Stories, where great football stories become a powerful way to improve your English. Here, you'll discover the incredible lives of football legends, their dreams, struggles, victories, and unforgettable moments. And while you enjoy every story, you're naturally strengthening your English listening, vocabulary, pronunciation, and comprehension. You'll hear clear, natural American English, helping you understand more, follow conversations, and build confidence as you listen. So take a breath, get comfortable, and let the story take you into the world of a football legend. Listen carefully, enjoy the journey, and get ready to discover a legend. Let's get started.
Who is Karim Benzema?
Wow, starting right with the big question today.
Yeah, picture this. It is a warm spring night in Madrid. The year is 2022.
Right, the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium.
Exactly, the most famous football stadium in the entire world. And it is completely silent.
Right.
Real Madrid, the absolute kings of Europe, they are actually losing to Paris Saint-Germain.
Their Champions League dream is basically dying right in front of them.
Yeah, and the fans are nervous. The whole world is watching. And then a 34-year-old man, a player who spent an entire decade just standing in the background, decides it is his time.
Oh, man, and in exactly 17 magical minutes, he just takes over.
He does. He scores 1, 2, 3 goals, a pure, completely unstoppable hat trick.
The stadium just explodes.
Right. He single-handedly drags his team from the edge of defeat to the greatest victory of the year. And that man is Karim Benzema.
It is a moment that just gives you pure goosebumps. So welcome, everyone, to another episode of English Podcast Football Legends. We are absolutely thrilled to have you joining us today.
Yes, welcome. Now, usually when we do a deep dive into our material, we just look at the basic numbers, the trophies, and the dates.
But today is fundamentally different, isn't it?
It really is. Today, we are looking at the deeply inspiring, highly emotional journey of one of the greatest strikers of the modern era.
We are going to trace the steps of a young, kind of timid, quiet boy growing up in the tough streets of Lyon, France.
All the way to him becoming a Ballon d'Or winner, the best player in the world, and an absolute legend for Real Madrid.
It truly is a remarkable story. But before we start the story, we want to speak directly to you, our listener, for just a moment.
Exactly. As we explore this incredible journey today, we are going to help you naturally level up your English.
Right. By listening to this deep dive, you are going to improve your English listening skills. We will teach you some very useful everyday vocabulary completely naturally.
And you are going to hear slow, crystal clear American pronunciation.
Which is so helpful. This will help you understand authentic conversational English, improve your own speaking confidence, and, learn common native expressions.
But beyond just the English language, the life lessons you will discover today are so profound.
We are talking about deep self-belief.
Yeah.
We will explore perseverance and incredible discipline.
Yeah, and we are going to break down resilience, true leadership, infinite patience, and absolute humility.
We will see exactly how a person overcomes brutal public criticism and turns massive life setbacks into ultimate success.
And to make sure you get the absolute most out of this experience, both of us are going to speak extremely slowly and very clearly.
Yes, we are keeping our conversation right at a comfortable B1 to B2 level.
Our goal is to make sure every single sentence is easy for you as an English learner to digest and understand,
without ever losing the deep cinematic emotion of the story. We want this to feel like a warm, relaxed conversation between friends who just love a great documentary.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let us travel back in time. The date is December 19th, 1987.
And the location is Lyon, France.
But, we are not in the beautiful, historic center of the city. We are in an eastern suburb, a very specific district known as Bron-Turillon.
Right. This is where Karim Mustafa Benzema was born.
And we really have to understand the environment he was born into.
Yeah, so Karim comes from Algerian descent, specifically with Kabyle heritage.
His grandfather, a man named Dalakal Benzema, made the massive life decision to move from Algeria to France back in the 1950s.
Which really set the foundation for Karim's entire life. He was raised by his father, Hafid, and his mother, Wahida, in a very modest working-class environment.
And when we say working class, we are talking about a family that has to work incredibly hard just for regular wages.
Exactly. But what really stands out to me is the sheer size of the family.
Oh, wow, yes. Karim was the sixth of 9 children.
He grew up in a house with 5 sisters and 3 brothers.
Try to imagine the daily reality of that. I mean, 9 children in one house.
The noise, the competition for food, for attention, for space.
It definitely forces a child to find their own identity early on. And the neighborhood of Bronte-Rayon, well, it was not an easy place to grow up.
No, it was widely known as a hotbed for crime. The streets were tough. There were bad influences everywhere you looked.
But despite the chaos of those streets, his parents kept him highly disciplined.
The material actually describes him as a shy, slightly chubby little kid. His friends and his family gave him this really sweet nickname, Coco.
Coco, I love that. And all little Coco wanted to do all day long was just kick a football against a wall.
He ended up joining his local football club, which was called SC Bronte-Rayon.
And the amazing detail here is that the football pitch was located just 50 meters from his front door.
Which is such a powerful image, right? The beautiful game was literally right on his doorstep.
Yeah, and this is a great moment to highlight a useful English phrase for our listeners. You will often hear native speakers say that someone came from humble beginnings.
Humble beginnings. We see this perfectly with Benzema. Having humble beginnings means starting your life without money or high social status.
Right, it means you started at the very bottom with just your raw talent and your family.
We also see the word introverted used to describe him constantly.
Yes, he was quiet, he kept to himself.
An introverted person focuses their energy inward. They prefer small groups or being alone rather than being the loud center of attention.
But, that brings up a really fascinating question. I keep thinking about the geography of this situation.
What do you mean?
Well, you have a quiet, introverted kid living in a neighborhood where crime is common right outside his front door. How does a kid like Karim avoid all those negative, dangerous temptations?
Yeah, why didn't he go down the wrong path like so many other kids in his situation?
Exactly.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the answer is an anchor of intense family loyalty and strict parental discipline.
Right. His parents, especially his mother, were not going to let him fail.
They raised the family with strong traditional values. In fact, one of his uncles was an imam at a local mosque.
So his mother's strict, loving rules, combined with his total, absolute obsession with football, served as a literal protective shield.
He would come home from school, ignore the dangerous activity outside his window, and just focus entirely on the ball. The ball was his safe space.
That makes perfect sense. But raw, natural talent like his cannot stay hidden in a quiet neighborhood forever.
Exactly. When you are that good, the world comes looking for you.
And for Karim, the biggest football club in the city, Olympique Lyonnais, or simply Lyon, came looking.
This is the moment that forced him to step out of his quiet, safe shell and enter a highly competitive professional world.
So let's talk about the exact moment that happened. Karim is just 9 years old.
Okay.
His local team plays a match against the mighty Olympique Lyonnais Youth Academy. And what does this quiet kid do?
He completely dominates them.
So he scores 2 goals against the best young players in the entire region. Lyon scouts immediately knew they had to sign him.
But Lyon recognized something very important. They saw his talent, but they also saw the dangerous neighborhood he lived in.
Right, to protect their new investment from the bad influences of Bronte-Rayon, Lyon made a huge decision. They enrolled him in a special boarding house called Tola Volage.
For our listeners, a boarding house is a facility where young students or athletes live, sleep, and eat away from their parents while they train.
It is a complete change of environment.
And imagine the psychological shift. He goes from a noisy, crowded home with 8 brothers and sisters to a highly structured professional facility.
While he was living there, he actually served as a ball boy for the Lyon senior team.
A ball boy is the kid who runs to grab the soccer ball when it goes out of bounds during a professional match.
So on Saturday nights, he is literally fetching the ball for the adult superstars. But on Sunday mornings, playing for his own youth team, he was a superstar himself.
He scored an incredible 38 goals for the under-16 team.
38 goals, which sets up one of the most incredible stories I have ever read. It perfectly captures his personality.
Oh, the locker room story. I love this one.
Right. Karim is 17 years old. He is still a quiet, introverted teenager. Because of his amazing goal scoring, the manager calls him up to join the senior professional team.
And Karim walks into the adult locker room.
Yes, and he has to stand up and introduce himself to established, wealthy, famous superstars. Men like Michael Essien, Florent Malouda, and Sylvain Wiltord.
These guys have won championships.
And when they look at this shy teenager, they actually start laughing at him.
It is a classic sports tradition, you know? The veterans always try to intimidate the new rookie. They want to see if the kid is mentally tough.
But Karim does not put his head down. He looks directly at these famous, laughing millionaires, and he says clearly, "Do not laugh. I am here to take your place."
Wow. It gives you chills. It is such a powerful statement.
It really is. It is like a brand new, untested gladiator walking into the Roman Colosseum, looking at the scarred veteran champions who are laughing at him and calmly saying, "I am going to take your swords and I am going to be the champion."
That is ultimate confidence.
It really is.
That is a fantastic analogy. It captures the physical and mental intimidation of a professional locker room perfectly. And it highlights two great English terms for us.
What's the first one?
The first is prodigy. A prodigy is a young person who has a natural, almost unbelievable, genius-level talent for something. Karim was a true football prodigy.
Then the second phrase.
The second is a common English idiom, stepping up to the plate.
Stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, this phrase actually comes from American baseball, but native English speakers use it every day in business and in life. It simply means taking responsibility for a big challenge.
So when Benzema told those older, stronger players he was going to take their jobs, he was stepping up to the plate. He was accepting the challenge.
Exactly. And the most important part is that he actually backed up those bold words with real actions.
He made his professional debut in 2005. The very first game he plays, he provides an assist to set up a goal.
He went on to win 4 consecutive French Ligue 1 titles with Lyon.
His absolute breakthrough season was the 2007-2008 campaign. He scored 31 goals across all competitions, and he was officially named the French Player of the Year.
He had completely conquered France.
What's fascinating here is the massive duality of his personality. It is almost like he's two different people.
Yeah, we have a young man who is incredibly shy and introverted in normal life. He avoids cameras. He struggles to make eye contact with strangers.
He is just Coco from Braun.
But the absolute second his boots touch the green grass of the football pitch, a switch flips. He possesses this fierce, intense, almost arrogant self-belief.
It is a deep, unshakable trust in his own talent.
Exactly. And that is a massive life lesson for all of us. True self-belief does not require you to be the loudest person in the room.
You do not have to shout about how great you are.
Right. True self-belief just requires you to trust your own hard work and deliver the results when the pressure is highest.
I love that. But, being a hero in your hometown is relatively safe. You have your family nearby, the fans already love you, and you speak the language.
Very true.
To see if his arrogant self-belief was actually justified, Benzema had to leave his comfort zone. He had to step into the most ruthless, demanding crucible in world football, Spain.
And that transition is where the story gets really complicated. We are moving to the summer of 2009. Karim is the hottest young talent in Europe.
The biggest, richest clubs in the world are fighting to sign him.
And there is a deeply revealing story about FC Barcelona here. Barcelona's sporting director at the time, a man named Tshiki Begiristain, actually visited Benzema personally to discuss a massive transfer.
That reportedly Barcelona decided not to sign him. Why?
Because Benzema would not make eye contact during the meeting.
Wait, really? Just because of eye contact?
Yeah. They interpreted his shy, introverted nature as a weakness. They worried he was too fragile to survive the immense pressure of playing in Spain.
That is crazy to think about. Barcelona passed on one of the greatest strikers in history because he was too shy in a living room.
It is wild. But their biggest rivals, Real Madrid, took a completely different, much more personal approach.
They absolutely did. The president of Real Madrid, Florentino Perez, is a billionaire. He is one of the most powerful men in sports.
And instead of sending an assistant, Perez literally flew to France.
He drove into the tough, working-class neighborhood of Braun, walked up to Karim's house, and knocked on the front door.
Imagine you are Karim Benzema. You're sitting on your modest sofa in the house you grew up in, and suddenly the president of Real Madrid is sitting in your living room.
The material says Benzema was so completely shocked to see this man that he froze. All he could manage to say was a quiet, "Hello."
But Perez looked the young man right in the eyes and made a promise. He said, "You will be the best in the world, and the place to achieve it is Real Madrid."
That direct personal belief changed everything. Benzema immediately rejected huge financial offers from Manchester United, Barcelona, and Inter Milan.
He signed with Real Madrid for a massive transfer fee of roughly 35 to 41 million euros. It was a dream come true.
But dreams can quickly turn into nightmares, and his transition to Madrid was brutally, incredibly hard.
It was a huge shock to his system. Remember, he is a young man who has never lived outside of his hometown. When he arrived in Madrid, he felt completely isolated.
First, there was a massive language barrier.
Let's explain that for our learners. A language barrier is the invisible wall that exists when people try to communicate, but do not speak the same language.
It prevents you from making friends, from understanding instructions, and from feeling at home.
Exactly. Because of that language barrier, he was lonely. On the pitch, things were just as bad. He was struggling to score, and he actually lost his starting position to a very aggressive, hard-working Argentine striker named Gonzalo Higuain.
The Spanish media, which is notoriously ruthless, began to attack him daily. They cruelly labeled him the new Anelka.
Right. They were comparing him to Nicolas Anelka, another highly talented French striker who had moved to Madrid years earlier and failed miserably.
And it was not just the media. His own boss turned against him.
Yeah, the manager of Real Madrid at the time was the famous Jose Mourinho.
Mourinho is known for playing psychological games. And during a very public press conference, Mourinho criticized Benzema in front of the entire world.
Mourinho said, "If I can't go hunting with my dog, then I will have to take the cat."
That is a devastating insult in the football world. Mourinho is using a specific metaphor.
A metaphor is when you compare two different things to make a strong point.
Mourinho used a dog to represent Gonzalo Higuain. A dog is aggressive, it hunts, it fights, it works hard.
And he used a cat to represent Benzema. In this context, calling him a cat meant Mourinho thought Karim was lazy, soft, and weak.
He was saying Karim just wanted to sit in the sun and not do the hard work of a real striker.
It honestly breaks my heart a little bit.
I know. How does a multi-million-dollar athlete playing for the biggest, most glamorous club in the entire world feel so completely alone and isolated?
You always think that money and fame solve everything.
But underneath the jersey, he was just a young kid in a foreign country getting bullied by the national media and publicly humiliated by his own manager.
It is a powerful reminder that wealth does not buy mental peace or emotional stability. He was in a very dark place.
But this is exactly where we see the life lesson of perseverance emerge.
Perseverance means continuing to fight, continuing to push forward, even when things are incredibly difficult and every part of you just wants to quit and go home.
And Benzema did not go home. He did not quit.
He took radical action. Instead of complaining to the media, he went to work.
He traveled to a highly specialized, high-performance medical clinic in Murano, Italy.
He completely changed his lifestyle. He went through intense physical conditioning, changed his strict diet, and lost 8 kilograms of weight. He became leaner, faster, and stronger.
He also recognized that he needed mental help, right? He needed a mentor who understood his specific struggle.
Yes, he sought out the advice of Zinedine Zidane.
Zidane is a French football god who was working in the Real Madrid organization at the time.
Zidane understood exactly what Karim was going through as a French-Algerian player in Madrid. Zidane guided him, offered him emotional support, and even called Karim his little brother.
With Zidane's mental support and his newly transformed body, Benzema developed incredible mental toughness.
He learned to accept harsh criticism without breaking. He learned to fight back.
So he gets his body fit, he loses the weight, and he gets his mind right. He is ready to be a star.
But there's a massive tactical problem. Getting fit was only step one.
Right. To actually survive at Real Madrid during this specific era, Benzema had to completely reinvent the physical way he played the game of football.
Why? Because he had to accommodate the biggest, most demanding star on the planet.
Exactly. This is the era of the legendary BBC attacking trio. That stands for Gareth Bale, Karim Benzema, and Cristiano Ronaldo.
Now, Karim Benzema is a traditional striker. The entire purpose of a striker is to score goals. Your value is measured in goals.
But Karim is a genius, and he quickly realized a hard truth. He could never, ever compete with Cristiano Ronaldo for goals. Ronaldo was an absolute machine.
So what does a striker do when the guy standing next to him needs to score 50 goals a season?
He adapts. Benzema used his incredibly high football intelligence to change his entire style of play. He transformed himself into what tacticians call a false nine.
Let's break down the mechanics of that. I think a lot of people watch football but do not understand the subtle tactics. What exactly is a false nine doing differently?
It is a great concept to understand. In traditional football, the number 9 is the main striker. He stands as close to the opponent's goal as possible, waiting for the ball so he can shoot.
The opponent's biggest defenders, the center backs, are programmed to stand right next to that number 9 and physically fight him.
Right. It is a physical battle in the penalty box.
But a false 9 tricks the defense. Instead of staying near the goal, Benzema would deliberately drop backward away from the goal into the middle of the field.
He would play with his back to the opponent's net.
And what does that do to the defender?
It creates a massive psychological dilemma for the center back. The defender suddenly thinks, wait, my guy's running away from the goal. Do I follow him into the midfield and leave a massive empty hole in my defense? Or do I let him go, which gives him the time and space to pass the ball?
By forcing that split second of hesitation, Benzema literally created massive, empty, physical spaces on the field. And who is sprinting into those empty spaces at 30 kilometers an hour?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
That is brilliant. By dropping back, Benzema is basically acting as a decoy, doing the dirty work, so Ronaldo has an open path to score.
Exactly. And this highlights a beautiful English word. Selfless. Being selfless is the exact opposite of being selfish.
It means you care much more about the success of the group than you care about your own personal success.
Benzema became the most selfless player in the world. He willingly sacrificed his own personal glory, his own goal-scoring statistics, and his own fame for the success of Real Madrid.
But doing that came at a very heavy price, didn't it? Because the casual fans in the stadium do not always understand advanced tactics like the false 9.
They do not. The casual fans just look at the scoreboard. They see a striker who is not scoring.
And because of that, they turned on him. There were periods, like the 2017-2018 season, where Benzema only scored 5 league goals.
The fans in the Bernabeu Stadium whistled at him and booed him mercilessly.
So what does this all mean?
If you think about it in terms of music, imagine a famous world-touring rock band. Cristiano Ronaldo was absolutely the lead singer.
He held the microphone, he had the spotlight hitting his face, he did the wild dances, and everyone bought tickets just to see him.
Benzema, on the other hand, was the bass player.
The bass player. That is a perfect way to look at it.
Right. The bass player stands in the back, near the drums, completely in the shadows. He keeps the entire rhythm together. He does all the heavy, unseen lifting so that the lead singer sounds amazing.
Nobody buys a ticket to see the bass player.
But if you take the bass player off the stage, the whole band loses its rhythm and falls completely apart.
That is a wonderful analogy that really grounds the concept. And the deep life lessons we pull from this era of his career are humility and patience.
Humility is knowing your specific role and not letting your ego destroy the group's success.
We live in a modern world that is completely obsessed with individual statistics, personal branding, and getting all the likes on social media.
But Benzema proved that true, mature leadership sometimes means stepping back and letting someone else shine, purely for the good of the team.
And his selfless play directly led to historic success. Because of his sacrifices, Real Madrid won an unbelievable 4 Champions League titles in just 5 years.
But just as Benzema was finding this perfect rhythm, acting as the ultimate team player on the pitch, a massive, incredibly dark cloud formed off the pitch.
It was a situation so severe that it threatened to completely destroy his entire career, his reputation, and his freedom.
Before we move into this next chapter, we must establish a clear rule for our listeners. The provided sources contain information about serious legal controversies.
As hosts, we're going to remain completely impartial and entirely objective.
We will not take any sides, we are not passing judgment, and we are not endorsing any viewpoints. We are simply going to report the timeline of facts exactly as they are written in the provided source material.
That is very important. Let's look at the timeline. In 2010, the sources state that Benzema and 3 other players from the French national team were officially investigated regarding an alleged underage prostitution scandal at a nightclub in Paris.
That case was eventually dropped, but later, a much larger, much more damaging situation occurred. In 2015, the massive Mathieu Valbuena extortion scandal broke in the international news.
Let's carefully explain some of the heavy vocabulary here for our English learners by weaving it into the story.
The sources say this was a scandal, which means it was a huge shopping event that caused public outrage because it was viewed as legally or morally wrong.
And at the heart of this scandal was a crime called extortion.
Yes, extortion means forcing someone to give you money by threatening them.
According to the sources, Benzema was accused of being an intermediary. An intermediary is a middleman.
The police accused Benzema of acting as a middleman for a group of blackmailers who were targeting his French national teammate, Mathieu Valbuena.
The blackmailers told Valbuena that they possessed an embarrassing private video of him, and they threatened to release it to the public unless Valbuena paid them a large sum of money.
The sources report that the French legal system eventually found Benzema guilty of complicity in this attempted blackmail.
Complicity means being involved in a wrongful act. He received a 1-year suspended jail sentence and a fine of €75,000.
The sources also make it extremely clear that Benzema heavily and consistently denied this.
His legal team immediately appealed the decision, claiming the entire verdict was unfair and based on a lack of concrete proof.
Benzema's defense was that he was simply trying to intervene as a friend, to help his teammate find a quiet solution to a bad problem, and that he had absolutely no intention of blackmailing him.
But regardless of the legal arguments, the immediate professional consequence of this scandal was swift and severe.
Both Benzema and Valbuena were completely exiled from the French national team.
Exile is a strong word. It means being permanently banned or forced to stay away from your home or your group. Benzema was banned from playing for his country for years.
The timing of that exile is what makes it so emotionally heavy. Because of this ban, he missed playing in the Euro 2016 tournament, which was hosted in his home country of France.
And even worse, he missed France's victory at the 2018 World Cup.
I want to pause and just think about the emotional weight of that. You are a French kid from Lyon. You spend your entire life kicking a ball against a wall, dreaming of lifting the golden World Cup trophy for your country.
And when your country actually wins it, you are sitting on your living room couch, watching other men lift the trophy on television, all because of your off-field associations.
It really shows how quickly a lifetime of work can unravel.
This raises an important question, perhaps the most important question in our entire deep dive. How does a person react when the whole world seems to turn against them?
When your country rejects you and your reputation is in ruins, what do you do?
A lot of people would hide.
Exactly. But this is where we see the ultimate lesson in resilience. Resilience is the human ability to bounce back, to recover quickly from extreme difficulty.
Instead of retiring in shame or giving up on football, Benzema channeled every single ounce of his frustration, his anger, and his sadness directly into his club career at Real Madrid.
He stopped worrying about what the French media was saying, and he focused entirely on what he could control, his training, his diet, and his performance on the pitch.
And his forced focus on Real Madrid happened to perfectly align with a massive historic change at the club.
In the summer of 2018, Cristiano Ronaldo, the lead singer of the rock band, packed his bags and transferred to Juventus.
Suddenly, there was a massive vacuum at Real Madrid. A huge empty space of 50 goals a season was just gone.
The Spanish media was in a panic. When Ronaldo left, almost everyone expected Benzema to quietly fade away.
The critics said he was too old. They said his only real skill was passing the ball to Ronaldo, and without Ronaldo, Benzema would be useless.
But it was finally time for the sidekick to become the superhero.
He absolutely assumed the throne. He stepped out of the shadows, walked directly into the spotlight, and took complete control of the team.
He didn't just score goals, he became a vocal tactical leader. He started actively mentoring the young incoming players.
For example, he took a young Brazilian winger named Vinicius Jr. under his wing. He taught Vinicius how to position himself, how to stay calm under pressure, forming a deadly new partnership with him.
And this beautiful evolution builds up to the legendary 2021-2022 season. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Think about the timeline. Benzema is 34 years old during this season.
In the professional sports world, 34 is usually retirement age. Your knees hurt, your back aches, you lose your explosive speed.
Most strikers at 34 are playing in lower leagues or sitting on the bench.
But Benzema goes out and produces the most incredible dominant season of his entire life.
The numbers are staggering. He scored 44 goals in 46 matches.
But it wasn't just the raw numbers, it was when he scored them. His performances in the UEFA Champions League that year were borderline magical.
Let's look at the knockout rounds. Real Madrid is playing Paris Saint-Germain. PSG has Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe.
Madrid is losing. They are facing absolute elimination. The fans are terrified.
And in the second half, Benzema suddenly applies this insane pressure. He scores a hat-trick, 3 goals in one single game in just 17 minutes.
He literally saves the team from death.
And he wasn't done.
Mm-hmm.
In the very next round, playing against Chelsea in London, he scores another incredible hat-trick and snatched victory from the jaws of defeat.
He carried the team on his back all the way to the final, leading Madrid to their 14th European Cup. It was his 5th personal Champions League title.
And because of that heroic season, he was finally rewarded with the ultimate individual prize. In October 2022, Karim Benzema was awarded the Ballon d'Or.
For our listeners, the Ballon d'Or is the golden ball. It is the award given to the single best football player in the entire world.
He was the oldest first-time winner of the award in nearly 7 decades. He was also named the UEFA Men's Player of the Year.
We can highlight two great English phrases here. First, stepping out of the shadows.
This means to finally get the attention and praise you deserve after being ignored for years because someone else was standing in front of you. Benzema definitively stepped out of Ronaldo's shadow.
Second, peaking late. To peak means to reach your highest, absolute best point of success. In sports, athletes usually peak in their mid-20s.
Peaking late means achieving your absolute best results when you're much older than expected.
But how? It completely defies sports logic to have your absolute best, most athletic, and most clinically perfect season in your mid-30s.
The human body is not supposed to do that. How did he actually achieve it?
It connects right back to our core life lesson of turning setbacks into success. Think about his decade playing as a false nine.
Because Benzema had spent years playing selflessly, dropping deep, and avoiding the brutal physical tackles of the center backs, he actually saved his body from major injuries.
He wasn't relying purely on explosive, tearing speed. He was playing a highly intelligent, tactical game. He developed a genius-level football IQ.
So all those years of sacrificing his stats actually preserved his physical health.
Exactly. His selfless play was a long-term investment in his own body.
So when the team finally needed him to be the main leader, the central goal scorer, his mind and his body were perfectly primed and healthy enough to dominate the world.
That is just incredible. But once you conquer the highest mountain, once you hold the Ballon d'Or in your hands and lift the Champions League trophy as the captain of Real Madrid, the only question left to ask is, how do you want to say goodbye?
And that brings us to the final chapter of his European journey. After 14 incredible, dramatic years at Real Madrid, Benzema made his decision in the summer of 2023.
Let's just pause and respect his final statistics for the club. 648 total appearances.
354 goals, making him the second all-time top scorer in the history of Real Madrid, behind only Cristiano Ronaldo.
155 assists, which is an all-time club record, proving his selflessness.
And 25 major trophies, tying him for the most trophies won by a single player in the club's history. And with those numbers, he decided to leave.
He signed a massive new contract to play in the Saudi Pro League, joining the current champions Al Ittihad.
The sources say the contract was worth an unbelievable, mind-blowing $212 million a season.
But Benzema claimed the move was not just about the money. In a deeply revealing interview, he explained his thought process.
He said he picked up the phone and called Florentino Perez, the exact same president who had flown to his modest house in Braun all those years ago.
Benzema explained to Perez that he wanted to step aside now. Why? Because the young players he had spent years mentoring, players like Vinicius and Rodrigo, were finally ready to lead the club themselves.
He did not want to block their growth.
Let's look at the vocabulary here. We are talking about his legacy, right?
Yes. Your legacy is the story, the impact, and the memories you leave behind for people to remember you by after you have left. Benzema wanted his legacy to be perfect.
We also have a beautiful English idiom here. Passing the torch. Imagine runners carrying a flame.
Passing the torch means willingly giving your responsibilities, your power, and your leadership role to the next younger generation. Benzema felt it was time to pass the torch to Vinicius.
Okay, I have to gently push back on this narrative just a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I understand he is a great mentor, but is it really just about being a good guy and letting the young guys shine? Or does a guaranteed $212 million contract make that noble decision a whole lot easier to make?
Well, I think any honest person would say it is a bit of both. The financial reward in Saudi Arabia is obviously astronomical and impossible to ignore.
Yeah.
But if we look at it purely from a football and psychological perspective, a true leader knows exactly when their chapter is over. By leaving on a high note right after winning the Ballon d'Or and successfully guiding the young players to a Champions League victory, Benzema cemented his legacy flawlessly.
He left them wanting more.
Exactly. In sports, it is always much better to lead the stage as a reigning king than to slowly decline, lose your speed, and spend your final 2 years sitting sadly on the bench, watching the young kids take your job. He controlled his own exit.
That is a very fair point. He wrote the absolutely perfect ending to his Madrid story.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, our listener, with a final thought to really mull over. Think about your own life.
Think about your career, your friendships, or your family dynamic.
How many of us are truly willing to play a supporting role for a full decade? How many of us are strong enough to completely sacrifice our own egos, let others take all the credit and all the applause, and just focus on doing the hard, unseen work in the background?
Benzema's long, complicated career proves that true greatness isn't always about being the shining star from day one. It is about constant, quiet evolution.
It is about doing the hard work so that you are fully prepared when your moment to shine finally arrives.
That brings us right back to the very first question we asked today. Who is Karim Benzema?
He is not just a striker.
No, he is the quiet, chubby kid from the tough, crime-filled streets of Braun who used his mother's strict discipline to shield himself from danger.
He is the brilliant prodigy who had the sheer, arrogant self-belief to look established superstars in the eye and tell them he was going to take their jobs.
He is the consummate professional who showed the deep humility to sacrifice his own statistics and play as a false nine just to help a teammate shine.
He is the survivor who showed the resilience to endure harsh public scandals, national exile, and cruel media mockery.
And finally, he is the undisputed leader who proved that infinite patience, tactical intelligence, and constant evolution can help you turn your darkest setbacks into ultimate success, eventually crowning him the single best player in the world.
Absolutely beautifully said. And to you, our listener, we want to remind you that the journey of learning English never has to be boring or feel like a textbook.
Learning through deeply inspiring, emotional, real-life stories like Karim Benzema's journey is one of the most enjoyable, effective ways to become fluent.
You are absorbing vocabulary, natural rhythm, and raw emotion all at once, without even realizing you are studying.
We want to thank everyone so sincerely for listening to today's deep dive. We truly hope you feel motivated today, both in your English learning journey and in your own personal life goals.
We invite you to continue improving your English with us in the very next episode of English Podcast Football Legends.
Keep learning, keep evolving, keep stepping up to the plate, and we will see you next time as we explore the life of another incredible football legend. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Keep working hard in the background, and your moment will come.